Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule.
Nos programmes offrent plusieurs langues. Veuillez visiter suprememastertv.com/schedule.
Nuestros programas ofrecen varios idiomas. Visiten suprememastertv.com/schedule.
हमारे कार्यक्रम पेश किए जाते हैं कई भाषाओं में। कृपया देखें suprememastertv.com/schedule।
Look at this Cairo skyline. There are piles and piles of rubbish stacked up on the city's rooftops. The rubbish and the huge amount of plastic waste ends up everywhere. So many of the tributaries and irrigation canals leading to the River Nile are utterly clogged with every type of scrap imaginable.
The growing problem of plastic pollution, part 2 of 2. Continue watching to find out more.
I would say that even just being vegan means that you are helping to save animals' lives. Melanie Light, vegan.
Hola, generous viewers. That means hello in the Ladin language. My name is Elita. The Ladin people of northern Italy are grateful to Mother Nature for providing us with an abundance of fruits and vegetables. May all beings cherish our beloved earth by adopting the compassionate vegan lifestyle. Welcome to the concluding episode of our series, The Growing Problem of Plastic Pollution. In part 1 of this series, we learned that once manufactured, plastic takes as long as 1,000 years to decompose. As a result, the amount of waste keeps accumulating because we continue producing more plastic each year. On today's program, we'll learn why this waste has become a severe problem around the world. Plastic pollution is an especially critical issue in developing nations with limited waste management and recycling facilities. For example, in Cairo, Egypt, one of the largest cities in Africa, the problem of plastic waste has become overwhelming.
Look at this Cairo skyline. There are piles and piles of rubbish stacked up on the city's rooftops. The rubbish and the huge amount of plastic waste ends up everywhere. So many of the tributaries and irrigation canals leading to the River Nile are utterly clogged with every type of scrap imaginable. This could well be the future nightmare scenario of all inhabited areas along the length of the Nile.
However, the problem of plastic waste extends far beyond cities. It occurs even in the most remote places on Earth. In spring of 2022, scientists from the University of Canterbury in New Zealand collected fresh snow samples from 19 different sites in Antarctica and found tiny fragments of plastic in all of them. The most commonly found type of plastic was polyethylene terephthalate, or PET, the type used to make clothing and drink bottles. Microplastics have been found previously in Antarctica's waters and sea ice, but this was the first time they were discovered in freshly fallen snow. Dr. Laura Revel, an associate professor at Canterbury University involved in the research, says it's incredibly sad, but finding microplastics in fresh Antarctic snow highlights the extent of plastic pollution into even the most remote regions of the world. And the problem of plastic waste has been increasing exponentially. Currently, the world produces twice as much of this waste annually than it did 2 decades ago. In addition, since its outbreak in late 2019, the global COVID-19 pandemic has caused even more waste to be produced. In a paper published in the Proceedings of the U.S. National Academy of Scientists in November 2021, researchers stated the recent COVID-19 pandemic has led to an increased demand for single-use plastic, intensifying pressure on this already out-of-control problem. Most pandemic-related waste comes from discarded personal protective equipment, or PPE. During the pandemic, an estimated 129 billion face masks and 65 billion gloves were discarded globally each month. The scientists added, more than 8 million tons of pandemic-associated plastic waste have been generated globally, with more than 25,000 tons entering the global ocean. In a February 2022 report, the World Wildlife Fund, or WWF, warned that the ever-growing amount of plastic waste is devastating ocean life. The report states that almost 90% of marine species are affected by plastics.
The World Wide Fund has sounded an alarm over rising plastic pollution in the world's oceans. According to a new report published by the WWF, the marine plastic pollution could quadruple by the year 2050.
Most of the plastic which gets into the ocean is nearly impossible to retrieve.
We cannot get out the plastic of the ocean. You may be able to retrieve plastic articles near the coastline. You can collect it from beaches or from riverbanks, but once it's in the ocean, it's lost.
Once in the ocean, plastic waste affects the lives of many different kinds of marine life, as Dr. Bergman explains.
Plastic also fragments into smaller pieces due to the action of sunlight and wave abrasion in the ocean, for instance. And in these smaller sizes, plastic particles can reach far more organisms. Even the smallest zooplankton animals can eat these particles, up to big whales. For some species, it causes inflammation, it reduces the growth rates, it reduces success of reproduction or fertility. And so the effects are very different depending on what animal you look at.
The WWF is calling for a legally binding international treaty to limit further plastic pollution.
Vegan. Our children will thank us for being kind.
We'll take a moment now to search the internet to learn more about reducing plastic in our day-to-day lives. We'll be back after this message. Welcome back to our program, The Growing Problem of Plastic Pollution, Part 2 of 2, as we examine some solutions for reducing plastic waste. One of the most commonly suggested solutions is recycling. But is recycling really effective? According to a 2017 study published in the journal Science Advances, of all the plastic ever produced until 2015, only 9% was recycled. However, even when it's recycled, plastic is still plastic. A recycled soda bottle might be turned into a shampoo bottle, which then might become a floor mat. But plastic does not disappear through recycling. It simply downcycles to eventually end up as garbage. Another possible solution is banning certain plastic products, especially single-use items such as grocery bags and food packaging. Many countries are implementing such bans. Beginning in January 2022, France banned plastic packaging for approximately 30 different kinds of fruits and vegetables. The ban will be extended to all fruits and vegetables by June 2026, giving companies time to find alternative solutions for their packaging. England's Parliament has announced plans to ban polystyrene cups, single-use plates, and cutlery. Scotland, Northern Ireland, and Wales also planned to ban single-use plastic cutlery, while the European Union brought in a similar ban as of July 2021. Other countries have also taken steps to address the problem. Peru has passed a law forbidding the use of plastic in national parks and on national beaches. Kenya has banned single-use plastic bags. Canada declared plastic a toxic substance. And as of July 1st, 2022, India imposed a ban on many single-use plastic products. However, many believe that bolder steps must be taken. In its January 2022 report, the Environmental Investigation Agency, or EIA, stated that plastic pollution is a global emergency as critical as climate change. The authors called for an international treaty with binding targets to reduce plastic production and waste. Tom Gamage, an ocean campaigner at EIA, says there is a deadly ticking clock counting swiftly down. If this tidal wave of pollution continues unchecked, the anticipated plastics in the seas by 2040 could exceed the collective weight of all fish in the ocean. In March 2022, the United Nations Environment Assembly, or UNEA, met in Nairobi, Kenya, to forge an agreement for an international treaty on plastic pollution. The meeting was a landmark success, with 175 member states in favor.
The global plastic waste problem is undeniable. From oceans to land to mountains, it's an environmental crisis. But this was the historic moment nations agreed to do something.
I see no objections. It is so decided.
Cheers erupted at the United Nations Environment Assembly in Nairobi as 175 nations agreed to clean up the mess. It's being described as the most significant environmental deal since the 2015 Paris Climate Agreement.
Although such an international treaty could limit future waste, the problem of existing plastic waste is yet to be solved. How can this issue be addressed? Researchers at the University of Texas in Austin have made a promising discovery that could help. In April 2022, University of Texas scientists announced that they had developed an enzyme called hydrolase that can break down PET plastic in less than 24 hours. The enzyme decomposes the plastic into its component molecules, which can then be used to form new products. The enzyme also works under varying temperatures, a characteristic essential for environmental cleanup applications. When produced in sufficient quantities, this enzyme could help to clean up plastic-strewn landfills. It could also be used in waste management plants. Our most gracious Supreme Master Ching Hai often reminds us about the critical importance of protecting the environment and encourages us to use only eco-friendly products.
In America, they're already trying to limit the use of harmful packages. So I think that's a very good start, and maybe we should impose a little stricter ban on these harmful substances. Maybe we can use carton instead, something more disposable, something more eco-friendly. And of course, the government, again, and the individuals have to contribute to this. They have to be willing. They have to understand the harmful effect of the use of these packages. And then we have to change. Even if the government doesn't impose any ban, we as individuals should pay attention. We should use something less toxic. And we should use, our own shopping bags wherever we go to minimize whatever we can, the harmful effect to the planet.
Our deepest gratitude goes to Supreme Master Ching Hai for reminding us about the importance of protecting our precious earthly home. We pray that all people heed your wise words and that we soon live in a pristine, peaceful vegan world.
Vegans, soldiers without weapons.
Considerate viewers, thank you for your company today during our show. Please stay tuned to Supreme Master Television for positive changes in countries, Part 42 of a multi-part series, Reliable Governments, Reliable Citizens, Mongolia, Montenegro, Morocco. Up next, right after noteworthy news. Through the grace of the divine, may you find a spiritual master who can liberate you from the endless cycle of rebirth.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule and suprememastertv.com/PE.